Thanks, Ivan and Danielle. Hello, I'm Nelson Liu, and welcome to Western Perspective. Tonight, Australian journalists have taken freedom of the press for granted in Australia. But in Hong Kong, reporters have been towing the line between editorial freedom and control. Hong Kong's print and broadcast media has been diverse, but since Britain handed control of the city back to China in 1997, its media has fallen between the grey area because of social pressures. So has Hong Kong's media broken the censorship cycle, or is the future still bleak for its publications? Our Hong Kong correspondent Charlie Ju brings you the special report.
Hong Kong is a bustling city made up by Chinese and European influences. China's one-country, two-system policy has brought to Hong Kong fundamental human rights, including freedom of opinion and thought. Hong Kong journalists have put those freedoms into practice in the media, but political and social issues have threatened to limit their ability to report and its freedom.
In my career as a journalist, I was approaching the end of my journalistic career.
Claudia Mo is a former journalist who is now a member of Hong Kong Legislative Council. She says the lack of freedom of speech in Hong Kong's media was a factor that determined the end of her reporting career.
Self-censorship has become so fashionable in Hong Kong that I thought I couldn't survive on.
She's joined by journalists across Hong Kong who are concerned about mainland Chinese government and business investment in Hong Kong will heavily influence their editorial independence. Journalists and publications have been suppressing what they say in the reports and publications, as known as self-censoring.
Self-censorship for what? For two things. One, for money reasons, advertising revenue. Two, for self-importance, political clout.
And this censorship has gradually become a problem for Hong Kong's media since its handover to China in 1997. The World Press Freedom Index has revealed Hong Kong's rank has steadily fallen from 61st place in 2014 to 17th in 2015, after featuring highly on the list at 18 in year 2002. Hong Kong Journalists Association member Luther Ng says censorship has led to a limited place for journalists in the government.
There is a lot of evidence that the Hong Kong government, in fact, when they are trying to implement some kind of important policies, they try to avoid to have public press conference. So instead of they are writing official or minister, they are writing blogs, and also trying to brief some government-friendly reporters.
Those blogs and briefings have allowed the government to avoid controversial issues and criticisms of politicians.
They don't want to face the public. They're worried or terrified of reporters' questions.
Online reporters are prevented from attending government press conferences and events, while their news publications go unrecognized by the government because there isn't a clear definition of their websites. We attempted to invite the minister in charge, Greg So, to be interviewed, but the invitation was turned down. Instead, a spokesperson has restated that the Hong Kong government will continue supporting press freedom. However, journalists are already fighting back against the deteriorating quality of impartial, balanced media. Hong Kong Free Press editor Tom Grundy set up his online news website in response to the deteriorating media quality in the wake of the Hong Kong pro-democracy umbrella movement protests. He says the local government does not have a reason to discriminate against his news service because it is a legitimate company.
We're in no such grey zone. We are a legitimate registered company with an office with qualified journalists, so we're nowhere near this sort of grey zone.
But Hong Kong Free Press is still limited along with other news websites, despite its legitimate status. But despite the obstacles, Claudia says efforts like Tom's are a good sign that Hong Kong's journalists are actually striving hard for press freedom.
I think Hong Kong people, some are all determined to fight on, not for our sake, but for the next the generations to come.
Despite an uncertain outlook for Hong Kong's media, future generations of journalists in Hong Kong believe they can still make a difference, one step at a time. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Until next week, good night.